Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take a stack of challenging material, pull out the most important ideas, and help you get informed without all the overload.
And today we're doing a really personal deep dive. We're looking at the work of Brené Brown, specifically her book, The Gifts of Imperfection.
Right, and our mission today is simple, but it's also pretty profound. We want to pull out the essential daily practices you need to actually do what the book says.
To let go of who you think you're supposed to be and embrace who you are.
Exactly. It's a huge promise.
It is. And the whole framework isn't about, life hacks or productivity. It's built on something she calls wholehearted living.
Okay. Wholehearted living.
Which she defines as engaging with life from a place of worthiness, an unwavering place of worthiness.
That word, worthiness, that feels so central.
It's everything. It means you're cultivating the courage, the compassion, and the connection to actually believe deep down, no matter what gets done and how much is left undone, I am enough.
I am enough. That sounds so simple when you say it, but for so many people, that is the hardest thing to actually feel.
Well, and the research is so clear on this. That belief in your own fundamental worthiness. It's the only thing that separates people who feel a deep sense of love and belonging from those who struggle for it.
The only thing.
Which brings us to the most crucial insight right at the start. And this is really the whole paradigm shift. It's about the timing of worthiness.
What do you mean by timing?
Well, we're all conditioned to think of worthiness as something we achieve in the future. I'll be worthy of rest when I finish this project.
Or I'll be worthy of love if I lose 10 pounds. We set up all these prerequisites.
Exactly. They're if-then conditions.
Yeah.
But the data here just blows that up. It says worthiness has zero prerequisites, none.
So it's not a goal to be achieved.
It's an immediate status. The core message is just, it's so powerful. Worthy now, not if, not when, right this minute, as is.
You don't earn it, you just accept it.
You just have to accept it.
Wow. Okay, so that completely changes the conversation from what do I need to do to what do I need to accept? So let's unpack the framework that helps you do that. It centers on 3 tools, right? The gifts of imperfection.
Yes, and these are courage, compassion, and connection. And she's very clear that these are daily practices. They're not ideals you arrive at. They're choices you make every day.
And they come from vulnerability, which is the irony.
That's the beautiful irony. They turn your vulnerability into a gift.
So let's start with courage. Most of us, when we hear that word, we think of something heroic, a firefighter running into a building.
Right, but this is about something she calls ordinary courage.
Okay.
The root of the word is from Latin, cor, which means heart. So the original definition was to speak one's mind by telling all one's heart.
So it's not about being physically brave.
Not at all. It's about putting your vulnerability on the line.
There's that example in the research about the kid at the slumber party, which I think makes it so tangible.
It's a perfect example. The kid is homesick. Finding the courage to call home and say, "Can you pick me up?" That's ordinary courage. You're risking what your friends will think.
But then there's a second act of courage, isn't there?
Which is often even harder. It's the bravery to say to your parent the next time, "Can you pick me up at bedtime? I'm just not ready for the whole night yet." That admission.
I'm just not ready.
Yes, that's the heart of it. It's risking being seen as not good enough for the sake of being true to yourself.
So if courage is about showing our own heart, compassion, the second gift is more about how we react to others' pain.
Exactly. It comes from the Latin roots pati and cum, which literally means to suffer with.
To suffer with.
And the key insight here is that real compassion happens between equals. You can only be present with someone else's darkness if you know your own. If you judge your own struggles, you're going to judge theirs.
Okay, but this is where the research throws a curveball. It connects deep compassion with having strong boundaries. That just seems like a complete contradiction.
It does. I think most of us assume compassion means just, endless grace, no limits.
Right. How do firm boundaries actually help you be more compassionate?
This is one of the biggest takeaways for me. The mechanism is this. When we don't set boundaries and we don't hold people accountable, we end up feeling used and resentful.
I think we've all been there.
And once that resentment kicks in, we stop talking about the person's behavior, which is what we should be addressing, and we start attacking who they are.
You're shifting from talking about what they did to what they are.
Precisely. From guilt to shame. And that is so toxic. It just destroys any chance of connection. So the most compassionate people are actually the most boundaried people because they stop that resentment from ever taking root.
So doing the hard work of accountability is actually the more compassionate path.
Absolutely. It's much harder in the moment to set a clear consequence than it is to just blame or shame someone. But it's so much more effective and, less destructive for everyone involved.
Which is a perfect transition to the third gift, connection.
Yeah. Which is defined as that energy that happens between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued. When you can give and receive without any judgment.
And we're literally wired for this, right?
We are. The neurological evidence is overwhelming. Our brains are shaped by our connections. We are built for community.
But so many of us struggle with it, and the book points to one specific barrier, this myth of self-sufficiency, this idea that our worth comes from always being the helmer, the strong one.
Yes, the person who never needs help. And it creates a total blockage in the flow of connection. The lesson here is so profound.
Go on.
Until we can receive with an open heart, we are never really giving with an open heart.
Wow. Say that again.
Until you can receive with an open heart, you are never really giving with an open heart. Because if you judge yourself for needing help, you will, consciously or not, judge others for needing your help. You block the energy.
So true generosity actually requires you to be able to admit that you have needs.
You have to be able to accept support without it diminishing you. It's a huge reframe for anyone who sees themselves as, the fixer.
Okay, so we have the tools: courage, compassion, connection. But now we have to talk about what she calls the things that get in the way. And number one on that list is shame.
The master emotion. It's this universal fear that we're somehow unlovable.
And the definition is very specific.
Very. Shame is the intensely painful feeling that we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love and belonging. The core message isn't, I did something bad. It's, I am bad.
And that's the crucial difference between shame and guilt. Guilt says, I did something bad, which is actually constructive. It can lead you to apologize and change.
Right, but shame is destructive. It eats away at the part of you that believes you can change. And it's linked to, so many issues: addiction, depression, aggression.
So what's the antidote?
Shame resilience, SR. The thing about shame is that it thrives in secrecy and silence and judgment. It can't survive being spoken.
Okay, let's slow down here because this is so important for anyone listening. There are 4 elements to building shame resilience. What's the first?
First, you have to understand your shame messages and your triggers. You have to recognize that voice. For example, knowing that every time you miss a deadline, that shame voice pops up and says, see, you're lazy, you're a mess.
Oh, just naming it. Okay, number 2.
Second is practicing critical awareness. You have to reality check those messages. You ask yourself, is this actually true? Is it helpful? Am I really the only person on earth who's ever felt this way? You start to see how flawed shame's logic is.
Then the third one feels like the riskiest one.
It is, but it's also the most powerful. It's sharing your story. But, and this is a huge caveat, only with people who have earned the right to hear it.
So not just anyone.
Not just anyone. You find that one person, maybe 2, who will listen with empathy and whose response will be, me too, not what's wrong with you.
And the final element is
speaking shame. Using the word. Saying out loud, I'm feeling a lot of shame right now. And then asking for what you need. Shame just withers when you put language around it.
And that fear of shame is often what leads to the next barrier, right? Perfectionism.
It's the birthplace of perfectionism. We build this, giant shield to try to protect ourselves from ever feeling blame or judgment or shame.
The book calls it a 20-ton shield.
Exactly. And it's this addictive belief that if we can just look perfect and act perfect and live perfect, we can avoid all that pain. But of course, it just keeps us from being truly seen.
It's so important to draw the line between perfectionism and healthy striving because they look similar on the surface.
The key difference is focus. Perfectionism is always other-focused. What will they think? Healthy striving is self-focused. How can I improve?
One is motivated by fear. The other is motivated by personal growth.
Exactly. And perfectionism is just paralyzing. It leads to anxiety, depression, and what she calls life paralysis.
Life paralysis.
Yeah, that feeling that stops you from starting the project or sending the email because the fear of it not being perfect is just too much to handle.
And when you're feeling that kind of pressure, the go-to coping mechanism for so many of us is the third barrier: numbing.
It's just trying to take the edge off those difficult feelings, the fear, the vulnerability, the despair.
And this isn't just about, drugs or alcohol.
No, it can be anything. Overworking, binge watching TV, staying busy all the time, scrolling on your phone. Anything to avoid sitting with the discomfort.
And this leads to what feels like the book's most difficult, non-negotiable trade-off.
Which is that we cannot selectively numb emotions. You can't. It's impossible.
You can't just numb the bad stuff.
That's right. When you numb the dark, the grief, the pain, you inevitably numb the light too. You numb your capacity for joy, for gratitude, for real connection. The two are completely linked.
So a joyful life is, by definition, a vulnerable life. You have to be willing to feel everything.
You do. Joy is described as being just as thorny and sharp as the dark emotions because it involves risk. To really love someone, to really believe in something, is to be vulnerable to pain. If you lose your tolerance for discomfort, you lose your capacity for real joy.
Okay, so we have to rebuild that tolerance. We have to learn to cultivate these practices.
Yeah.
Let's get into the guideposts for worthiness, starting with building resilience.
Right, and the foundation for resilience, she argues, is spirituality. And that doesn't have to mean organized religion.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that we're all connected to each other by something bigger than us, a power grounded in love and compassion. That's what gives you perspective and meaning when things get hard.
And from that foundation, you can cultivate hope. And the research on hope is fascinating.
It's so counterintuitive. Hope is not an emotion. It's a learned cognitive process. It's a way of thinking.
So you can learn it.
You can. It has 3 parts. 1, setting realistic goals. 2, figuring out different pathways to get there, being flexible. And 3, having agency, that belief in yourself that says, I can do this.
Which brings us back to the ultimate goal of all of this, which is guidepost number 1, cultivating authenticity.
Authenticity is just the daily practice of letting go of who you think you're supposed to be and embracing who you actually are.
And it's so hard in a culture that's constantly telling you to fit in and people pleaser.
It is. Choosing to be real over being liked is a constant battle.
And to do that, you need the next guidepost, right? Self-compassion.
Yes, this is the perfectionism killer. It's based on Kristen Neff's work, and it has 3 core elements.
Okay, walk us through them.
First is self-kindness. It's simple. Treat yourself like you would treat a good friend who is suffering. You stop the harsh self-criticism.
Okay.
Second is common humanity. This is remembering that suffering and feeling inadequate are part of the shared human experience. It stops shame in its tracks because you realize, oh, I'm not the only one.
And the third piece is mindfulness.
Right. Which means being present with your painful feelings without either ignoring them, which is numbing, or exaggerating them, which is catastrophizing. You just acknowledge the pain without letting it take over.
So you're just observing it.
You're observing it with kindness. And when you practice that with yourself, you build up this deep well of compassion that you can then naturally offer to other people. You can't give away what you don't have.
And finally, let's touch on joy and gratitude. The research shows they're tied together, like a knot.
Inextricably linked. Without exception, every joyful person interviewed for the research actively practiced gratitude.
Didn't just feel it, they practiced it.
Right. Through journals or meditations or just taking a moment. Gratitude that isn't practiced is just a passing emotion. It's not alive.
And it's so important to separate joy from happiness here.
Yes, happiness is circumstantial. It depends on things going well. But joy is a spiritual way of engaging with the world. It's tied to gratitude, and you can feel it even in moments of struggle, even when you aren't happy.
This has been so practical. So many tools for soul work. Let's try to synthesize this with that mnemonic the research gives us. Deep.
Right. Deliberate, inspired, and going. They're about the intentional choices you have to make.
To get deliberate, there's a mantra you can use when you feel vulnerable. Don't shrink. Don't puff up. Stand on your sacred ground.
It's about your posture in the world. Choosing authenticity instead of hiding or pretending.
Then, to get inspired, you remember that courage is contagious.
The book says you have to be brave with your life so that others can be brave with theirs. When you show up as your real self, you give everyone around you permission to do the same.
And finally, to get going, you just make authenticity the goal. If your goal is to be authentic, then whether people like you or not, you've succeeded.
But if your goal is to be liked, and they don't like you, you failed. You have to shift your metric of success from approval to integrity.
It's a journey out of fear and into your own story.
And owning that story is messy, and it's hard, but it's so worth it. The quote that sticks with me is, "Owning our story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it."
And the whole point is that wholehearted living isn't a destination, is it? It's not a mountain you climb and then you're done.
No, it's a direction. It's like walking toward a star. You'll never get there, but you always know you're heading the right way when you choose to live and love with your whole heart.
A perfect way to put it.
And the real truth, I think, is that only when we're brave enough to explore our own darkness, the shame, the imperfection, will we ever discover the infinite power of our own light.